In this video, we are going to talk about how to finish your hoop and how to back it. You're going to need a heat source, whether that's an iron, a hair dryer, or some other direct source of heat. You're going to need some scissors, a felt circle. It can be a larger piece of felt that you cut down later, and then a glue gun. So to start, we need our iron. The nice thing about the Pilot friction pin is that it goes away with heat. So the iron is my favorite method because it does seem to remove the heat the best versus maybe a hair dryer or something similar. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my design inside my hoop and go over with my iron to remove any pin marks. Now make sure you do this gently over pieces like a woven wheel. You don't even need to touch it directly. Just the heat hovering over it is enough. I do like to use my steam function because it seems to get the pin marks even better. Try and gently use the tip of your iron to get under that woven wheel. Alright, so now take a look at your piece, hold it up, make sure you move it around, make sure that you have stitched every single piece that you have a line for. This is the time if you realize, oh, I didn't finish off the little stem on my leaf, this is the time to go back and fix it now because you won't be able to fix it once we fully back the piece. This is also the time if you need to recenter your design to go ahead and do that. So if you need to loosen the nut at the top, take your two pieces out and recenter it so it's perfectly centered, you can go ahead and do that as well. Mine is already centered, so I'm not going to need to remove it or anything, but I do want to make sure it's fully tight. So I will go around and just pull around the edges gently and make sure that it doesn't need to be any more snug inside that hoop than it is. Alright, so I've finished that and now I'm going to get the scissors and start cutting away my excess fabric. So first I'm going to flip it over, I'm going to cut away my excess fabric. First I need to cut away this thin fabric that we had here that we put down first on our hoop, and this is what helped give our hoop a little more tension so that we could stitch and the fabric not get pulled away anywhere. So we're going to cut that one all the way down to the hoop. So I'm going to just go straight down and then I'm going to cut directly against the hoop, and I can even use my scissors against the hoop to do it. Just make sure you keep your Kona stitching fabric pulled away like this so that you don't accidentally cut that. I do prefer to hold this, but in the videos it's a lot harder to hold it and cut. So I have fully cut away that thin white fabric, and now I need to cut down my Kona fabric. Now with this one, you do not want to cut it all the way down to the hoop. You're going to leave a little bit of a gap, enough so that when you turn it over, you're able to glue it to the inside of this hoop right here. So if you look at that, this is about as much as fabric you want to leave left over. It's better to not cut too much the first time around, then you can go and test it and see if you need to cut more. So for example, if I just cut here, and that's about how much I have, if I flip it over and push it against a hoop, I can see, okay, I have enough room there. I probably don't want to go any shorter than this, and now I can use this as my guide all the way around. Once you finish doing that, you can push your fabric all the way down and see if there's any spot that maybe you got a little too high at. Whenever you're cutting, you might have gotten nervous and not as gone as low as you were supposed to. So I stayed pretty good in the back over here, and then up here I started getting a little bit higher. Alright, so next we need to get our glue gun. With our glue gun, we're going to place just a little bit, maybe about ½ an inch to an inch of glue at a time, and gently push over our fabric, making sure the fabric is nice and tight along the edges. Alright, so I'm going to start down here, but you can start any spot that really seems fitting for you. And I'm just going to put a little bit at a time. It might be closer to an inch. It depends on your glue gun as well. Your glue gun might be able to stay hotter longer. This one doesn't even look like it was warm up enough. It's not sticking. Let's try that again. There we go. So I'm just going to gently push this along the edges. And I do normally suggest when you do this to kind of hold it up while you're doing it, because with woven wheels and stuff, you don't really want to be pushing them straight on the ground, but for recording purposes, it makes it a little bit easier. And if you do have some spots that stick up a little like this, we'll come to that at the very end. But right now, just get all the way around, and then we can fix any spots that need it. For these spots that maybe didn't get all the way down, what you can do now is just go in with your glue gun. Make sure you don't put your glue past the wooden part. You don't want that glue to get onto the fabric, and then you can just push it down gently. All right, once that is done, it is time to add our felt. So with your felt circle, what you're going to do is put it on top of your hoop and just gently push it in around the edges. And if you don't have it as a circle already, what you can do is you can just put your hoop on top of a piece of felt, because sometimes people buy it as an 8.5 by 11 sheet, and just trace it. Just make sure you do it gently, and don't use a pen that will obviously get on your fabric. Use a Pilot friction pen or a pencil, and just gently trace the outline of the felt and then cut it out. Once your felt is inside the hoop, we can now use hot glue to secure it in place. I don't think it's necessary to put hot glue all the way around the edges, so I just do it in 4 points. I do it at the top, on the side, the bottom, and the other side, and then I push those in. I think I'm always a little worried that if I put felt all the way around, I'm going to end up putting too much hot glue, and it's going to get on the front of my piece, like seep through, and so I'd rather be a little more cautious with it. Honestly, you could leave it at this point. I have many pieces that I have left here. The felt's not going to come out. You don't absolutely need to glue it, but if you want to glue it so that you feel like it's truly finished, you can. So we'll just add a little bit of glue here at the top, and make sure you just use at the very tip of the of your felt, so that it doesn't, again, seep down to the fabric. All right, so once you've finished that, you are done. You have finished your piece from start to finish, and you are now ready to display it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe for more embroidery tutorials.